Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to CSI's December webinar on building scalable IT platforms for the digital enterprise. We are honored to present today's webinar featuring two distinguished experts in the field of digital transformation and cloud technologies. First, we have Mr. Nitin Harne, Senior Director of Enterprise IT and Cloud Transformation at Capgemini. With over 2 decades of experience, Nitin has been a driving force behind numerous successful digital transformation initiatives. His expertise in high performance computing, cloud technologies, and strategic leadership has made him a valuable asset to organizations like CDAC, Infosys, Cognizant, and Tech Mahindra. Joining Nitin is Mr. Samir Barpande, Program Manager in Cloud Infrastructure and Data Services at Capgemini. Samir brings over 2 decades of experience in IT infrastructure and data solutions, having held key roles at HCL, HP, and Cognizant. His deep technical knowledge, coupled with his strategic vision, has enabled him to deliver innovative solutions for clients across various industries. Together, Nitin and Samir will share their insights on building scalable IT platforms that can drive digital transformation and business growth. We encourage you to actively participate in the QA session to gain further clarity and discuss your specific challenges. Please join us in welcoming our esteemed speakers, Mr. Nitin Harne and Mr. Samir Barpande. And I request everyone to please put your mics on mute, and all the questions will be taken at the end of the session. Nitin sir, over to you, please.
Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for a quick introduction. Thank you so much. I have with me Samir, okay, and we are from Cloud and Infrastructure team of Capgemini. Okay, so Samir, can you move on to the next one?
Yeah.
So as it's already being introduced, so probably I'll go to this particular why we selected actually this particular topic. Okay, so there's a bit of a background here that we are living in a world where everything is getting global, and we thought, okay, this topic and the changing needs of the software development and the platforms and architecture. Okay, this is one of the key area which we thought can add value to individuals, and this will also give you some kind of insight as to what the industry is looking at and how we as an individual have a role to play here, and by understanding the whole ecosystem in much better way. So before we maybe you can go to the next slide. Before we get to the next level of discussion, okay, so here is a quick highlights as to what is that we are going to cover. So we'll speak about why scalable platforms are required, and what are the key principles, core components, and how do we leverage Kubernetes and best practices for developing such scalable platforms. So Samir will join. So rather, I would say Samir who is going to be the key guy who is actually going to present this, and I'll wherever I can chime in, I can chime and add more value to it. So yeah, move on. So
Yeah.
looking at the today's context, right, where the businesses are getting global, correct? There's an enormous amount of pressure, okay, and every organization wants to go global, okay, and they expect there's platforms to actually serve across the geographies, okay, and in such kind of scenario, okay, the continuity, business continuity, and satisfying the users becomes a critical aspect. So just before I go to the next stage, probably I have a couple of things which I wanted to know. So is there anybody who's joining from outside India or something like that in this group? Maybe you can actually put it into the chat if you are actually joining from somewhere else. Maybe I look at the chat, and is chat is enabled, right?
Yes, chat is enabled.
Yeah. So anybody who's from outside India who joining this particular call? Okay. I don't see anything, any responses. Probably, which city you're from joining from right now? I'm not seeing any chat. Is it okay? Kolkata, Noida, Mumbai. Okay, Bangalore. Okay, most of the metros. Okay, okay. I think we are on the same time zone, more or less. Good. Bangalore, Chennai. Sure. Excellent. So by any chance, if you are you part of any platform design or any architectural design? If yes, just say yes in the chat, then just to get an ideas to know what type of people we are engaged today. Wonderful, Senthil. Okay, locations are evenly spread. Yeah. If you are into designing, right, in architecture, core architecture work for platform design, probably you can say yes. I saw Senthil mentioning yes. Okay, anybody else? Only one person in designing? Is my chat stuck up or something? Okay, we have Aradhana also. Nice. So does that mean, okay, okay, yeah, responses have started coming in. Okay, Ratna, Sunil, good, good. So can I safely say that the rest of the people, if they are not from uh, architecture design, are you people from maintenance or support kind of services? If yes, then just say MS, the maintenance support. But yeah, on the similar platforms. So just say MS if you are in support services or in maintenance kind of. Just say MS that you are into maintenance and support. Because one of the critical area is also how do you operate such platforms? Okay. One is definitely architecture, how you develop it. Okay. MS T24. Okay. Oh, I don't know what is T24, Tremas.
So I think it is a banking platform, right?
I
T24,
see.
TMNS.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. MS managed services, maintenance and support. Wonderful.
Okay.
So it looks like we have a good crowd, actually, mix of both who are into design and
Yeah.
people in maintenance and support also. Wonderful. So we have there'll be a lot of shake hands will happen actually. Okay, when we actually go down the line as to how critical it is, for maintenance people, to understand the architecture work and how to avoid maintenance and support activities if the architecture is better and vice versa. Correct. Good. So thanks. I think good amount of responses, or safely I can say it's a 50-50% mix kind of things. Are there any students here? Are there any students? If you're a student, just say student and that should be good enough. So it will be good actually for us to know go to the basics of it just in case if there is any student community or very fresher people. So just a student slash fresher, it will give an idea so that we can taper down the presentations accordingly. I think the responses comes in batches. Looks like maybe because of the network. Okay, nobody is student. Okay. Okay, so fine. Thank you so much. But I think this time be a little faster. So what, according to you, is the most critical aspect of a scalable platform or in general platform? Okay. So what, according to you, is the most critical aspect of a platform or a scalable platform? I think this everybody can answer that, right? Wonderful. The first response, 100%
100%.
availability. Excellent. Availability, cloud,
Cloud
world.
data
Fantastic.
availability. Yeah.
Availability, long-term
Long-term
visibility. Yeah,
visibility. Good.
I think is more to do with yeah,
Robustness.
robustness. Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
reliability,
Customization. Customization.
customization. Zero downtime. Wonderful.
Availability. Yeah.
Nice.
Performance.
Performance.
Yeah. Good.
HDR.
Good. HDR.
Availability. Cost effective. Yes. Orchestration.
Yeah.
Good. Very good.
Very good.
Any more? Anybody still typing?
Container orchestration. Okay. Good.
Responsiveness to millions of records at a time. Okay. Oh, okay. Basically, okay.
Mhm. Number of records. Okay.
Performance perspective. I think Manish is
Yeah.
briefing more from performance perspective.
Microservices. Okay.
Microservices, latest
Zero.
technologies. Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Very good. Very good.
Roll back.
I think Samir, I think we have good responses, and I think people are already on top of
Serverless platform. Okay. Good.
uh, people are already on top of the issues. Correct. They
Yeah.
know what to look for while designing scalable platforms. Country
Country
regulations.
regulation. Yeah. Compliance. Security.
Compliances. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Availability.
Excellent. Okay. So any last two, three entries? Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah.
Deployment
Deployment
strategy.
strategy. Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Circuit breaker. Okay. Good. Regular updates. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I think
Thank you.
that was a very good response actually from each one of you. And exactly, I think you are all bang on that these are the typical features or functionalities that every platform should have. Okay. So I was just talking to other day to Samir, and then we were referring to that. Okay, typical. I think most of you are from India, and everybody is aware of a platform called IRCTC, which is your railway booking system, correct? And as you know that when we somewhere or other we must have experienced the IRCTC platform experience, okay, especially in the peak times, correct? And when First of all, it's very difficult to log in. It's very difficult to execute a request. There is no guarantee that in within that millisecond or nanoseconds you will be able to complete your transactions. Okay, and also guarantee you something. Okay, so that's a very critical aspect. And I don't know the architecture what they use at the back end, but I think the millions of users use at a given point in time, especially during the Tatkal booking kind of stay scenario early in the morning hours. And you must have seen in the last couple of years that they have actually tried to taper off this booking during the daytime, right? That okay, you can come early in the morning for a certain time and then push it out a couple of hours for the second type of requirement. Okay, something like that. So just trying to manage the workload in a much better way so that they can cater to the right set of people with a greater performance. But just imagine that okay, uh, while we actually connect that and that particular platform, okay, the IRCTC still maintains the same level of service, okay, not from a response perspective, but from a compliance perspective, or maybe from a scalability perspective. Okay, for example, if the workload is high during the initial time or maybe that beginning time, right? But they still maintain the security guidelines and compliances. Okay, it doesn't happen that okay, you may not that you are not getting the ticket. That's fine, but they are not compromising on certain areas. For example, the security, maybe the payment gateways or maybe the payment modes, correct? Or maybe your personal data is protected all through the journey, correct? There are no loopholes out there. You may not get successful in your bookings, okay, because of some or other reason, because there's a demand and supply which works totally against the users. But the platform, so-called platform, right? Your transaction will go through, right? You will not get a street or something like that, but your transaction will be intact. And based on the status of it, you will get that either ticket or they will roll back your requirements. Okay. So what I'm trying to say here is that irrespective of the workload, correct, or irrespective of the outcome of that particular transaction, the the purpose of that particular platform is fulfilled within a given framework of compliance and regulation, correct? So that you are not exposed to a scenario where there could be threat or maybe the damage to your payment system or data to of your own, correct? So that's what I'm trying to tell. So why scalable platforms are required, correct? So we have typically, taken the example of now another example I would like to give is an enterprise organization, right? Where now we are connected with all the ecosystem, right? On one side, we have the employees, we have the partners, correct? We have the solution providers from whom we take the services from. It could be Microsoft, it could be AWS or other people. So on one side, we have inputs coming from uh, the external vendors, suppliers, our employees, while on the other side, we have customers, correct? So we have to maintain a balance between both. And it's very tough to achieve uh, some kind of a good experience with all of them. And that's when I'm trying to show that, okay, the diagram here that, okay, there are multiple stakeholders and we need to keep everybody happy. Okay. And it's very subjective, right? The user experience is very subjective. Okay. It is generally measured on multiple dimensions, correct? And when you build such kind of things, let's just imagine, right, a couple of other examples. I think the recent one that ticket booking experience, I think Zomato or Book My Show, somewhere, some platform, right? It crashed couple of times, right? Because so much of workload. Okay, so it leaves a bad impression. Okay, so people. It's a waste of time. Just imagine that it could be few hundred people who are not successful, but the platform has crashed. So people don't trust, correct? They look for another option. Okay, if BookMy is not giving the right service, people will go to Zomato booking or maybe some other options which are available in the market where they can easily switch. And one good experience can actually change the perception of an individual. Okay. So while doing all of this, of course, there are certain limitations such as cost, okay, using of different technologies in order to be more optimum on the cost front of management and also design piece of it. And of course, continuous efforts to actually identify, okay, through various testing mechanism or maybe some kind of chaos engineering or something like that. So Samir will cover that in more detail as to what all we should do to ensure that, okay, we don't miss a single heartbeat, okay, because that is very, very critical for a platform to be successful or not to be successful. I'll hand over to Samir. Okay. Uh, if you are expecting anything more in the next 30 minutes, please call it out. Probably I'll be monitoring the chat window here out. Okay, and I'll make sure that we address those questions towards the end of it. So henceforth, I think it will be more technical, and I request Samir to actually, talk about the key principles and the components, including the Kubernetes and best practices. Yeah, over to you, Samir.
Yeah, thank you, Nitin, for setting up the contest, and thank you, team, for your excellent responses on the questions. And I hope that you guys all are aware of the platform and its related MS part as well. And as Nitin mentioned that, right, a couple of platforms, right, like Book My Shows, and then there is a IRCTC is example he given in his previous slide, right? So we found that those are the platform which are not capable when there is a sudden spike come into the request from the users, right? And they just get crash and flat fall. Having said that, while designing the any of our scalable platform, so there are some principles. you can see on the screen currently the four principles are flashing here, and then we'll go to the slidely another four remaining that. Okay, these are keep evolving and these are a change as per the requirement. Okay, but the principles where the platform stand, which is a very important while designing the complete stack of infrastructure as well as the platform which we are building for specific applications and the requirement. Okay, I'll just go with the first, elasticity. So elasticity is a very important aspect, supply versus demand, right? So this is exactly where we were, building the our platform, and to make it as a scalable. It's very important for us to scale up and down. We need to have to understand what is exactly the demand, uh, and then according to that demand, how we can able to create the workloads, okay, and how it get scale. So there are horizontal scaling, vertical scaling also is available, right? So understanding the first demand request, and a few cases, like if I take an example, just now we finished last week Black Friday, right? So typically the platform is created in a such a way that it may sustain and always been able to take a load up to the month end request and whatever the additional load is coming during the festive seasons and all, right? But typically in the Black Friday, what's happened typically fall every time into the last week of the month. Okay, and most of the time it was observed earlier that most of the online platform got crashed, or they are not able to meet the required demand from the customers, right? And then slowly you saw that there is a changes happen now, right? And then we never found that this particular, I mean, small portal also not even not going to be get crash. Because why? Because they understand the request, they understand the demand pattern of the customers, and according to that they bring the elasticity in their platform, so that any point in time if there is a spike in a demand, they can able to sustain. These are the demands which we know that there is a spike going to come, the festive seasons and then month ends and all those things. But there are certain demand which we, you, me, and we never know that, right? Some sort of unpredicted events going to be happen, and then there we saw that this kind of crashes happen. So keep in mind while designing this platform, we need to have to keep eye on our elasticity is very important part here. Second important principle is in redundancy. Okay, so why redundancy? Because if we build the complete platform, it should have a proper redundancy. It should not be, that I build a single point of failure kind of environment, which will be going to be fall if there is a failure happen occur on any of these my workload and my application goes on toss. So that should not be the case here. So we should have a proper redundancy for each of part of the platform, right from network, right from security, right from our workloads, right from our clusters, and so on so called as a virtualization pattern as well. Okay. Uh, Third principle is an observability. Nowadays, observability is playing a very vital role in most of the platforms, right? They give complete monitoring of your workloads, and they provide all the vital details, what exactly the things are happening. They provide logs there. On that logs you can create another analytics and get the dashboarding out of that, and you can just point it out like where exactly the breaches happen, where is the bottleneck, and where what sort of things I need to be get fine tuned on the workload perspective also, right? So the first thing is that the usability of the workload, then their bottlenecks, and what exactly the resource and performance I need to bring out of this all resources on my platform. By looking at the observability reports and logs and analytics, one can easily identify and they can fine tune according to that, and they can enhance the performance of their platform. Security and compliance is the next principles. While building this complete platform, right, we cannot left, or ignoring the security and compliance which we need to be follow. If it is building for any financial applications, there are certain compliances and security regulations we need to be implemented, and that we need to have to be considered. So keeping mind into that, every region, every country has their own regulation and compliance and security guidelines, and according to that, each region, because if I say that my platform will be not residing only in a specific country, it would be a global, right? Then if it is a US, then there is a separate compliance. If it is in Europe, then there is a GDPR compliant. So data cannot be transferred from GDPR to US and US to GDPR, both the same. So these aspects we need to be very keenly observe, and we need to have to be keep in mind that while designing this, I need to be in segregated the data in a such a way that Europe region data should be reside into the Europe, and US region also, data should reside into the Europe, and it will get, if at all it want to be get transfer, that we need to have to be check very carefully what the things are going to be transferred from across the region. Similar things into the healthcare and life sciences also, and there are certain government regulations for the public sector as well. Just then, scalability and performance is another principle. We always see that, right? uh, when we try to when we try to scale our infrastructure or platform during the peak hours and all, right, if we are not designed properly, it may flat fall, or we may going to be compromise the security related and regulation related stuffs, because what going to happen that it might affect also our performance as well. If I start scaling horizontally or vertically, and if I have not design in a proper manner that at what limit I should scale up and what limit I should be stopped, then there might be a chances that data going to be a compromise at any point in time, because our complete system, which is policy driven or maybe regulation driven, not going to be match all those extended scalable workloads. So be always ensure that you need to have to be set limit what level you should be scale up your complete platform, and what sort of performance you will be expecting out of that. Modularity is another part where you can see that nowadays things are happening into the pod and specifically into the microservices manner, right? So there are multiple pod for the applications, right, which will bring in a separate different pod together for one finance application, and then by looking at together, it looks like a single applications, but it has an underlying lot of microservices running, and there is a multiple pod working around it. Having said that, this modularity into our scalable platform going to help us to identify the issues where we are lagging, what are the what are the exact bottleneck happening during the our development cycle, and then we can immediately call out those, and we can try to mitigate those. So modular approach brings a lot of benefit while designing these kind of things. Okay. uh, these microservice based architecture also provide another benefit, that we are not going to build a huge workload or any kind of performance related issue. So the pods would be very small, they will be having a very specific task to do, and also there is a less consumption of our workloads if we properly design it. uh, Another principle is reliability and resiliency. Many of you have been talked about this, right? When Nitin asked this question, right? So reliability and resilience, it's a very important part. Uh, uh, while designing this platform, we should be ensuring that the stability and rapid recovery is a very important thing, right? We cannot have a basically the liberty to keep down our platform for a long period and time, because customer have a lot of expectation and demand from each platform what they are accessing, and even if it is a down for a hour, it going to be a loss of businesses for most of the organization. So this principle is very important while designing that, how we can make our platform reliable, and it should be a resilience, and there are a lot of methods to do that, which will bring in to added value while scaling up your complete platform. uh, and the final one is an automation, right? So automation leveraging the automation for the faster deployment and management is the key here. And basically, you can do the automation provisioning and configuration into your Kubernetes by using Terraform. You have Ansible, and there are many other tools also, right? So that all consistently using this, you can keep your platform updated, keep up to the n-1 or n plus kind of a thing into their currencies, patching vulnerabilities and everything, not what, everything you can use by doing the automation. I'm just moving to the next slide. Okay, so as we see the core basic principles, right? And that principles are the specific to the more onto the platform related uh, uh, topic, which is more onto the principle side, right? Now we talk about more on the core component, which is the technology part, right? So platform is not only built on principle, but it also have a technology to be get involved, right? So the first and foremost is the cloud infrastructure, which is a very important aspect nowadays. Private cloud and then on-premise, both the versions are also available. That called as an hybrid cloud. So public cloud and hybrid cloud is a cloud infrastructure which typically going to be used for this kind of platform to be built according to the compliance, according to the security guidelines, and according to the application need or business need. We can choose which platform or which way we want to go. We want to go with a hybrid manner, we want to go with a private cloud manner, or we want to go with a completely public cloud manner, right? So it's depend on the complete our strategy and what are the technology based platform you would like to build on that. Okay, so having said that, you all know that what are the clouds available in the market, like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Oracle, and there are a lot of other private cloud also there. And again, you can build your own cloud by having the your own stack, open source stack, and then you can do your own development and you can build your own private cloud for your application. Second technology part is a containerization and orchestration. This is a very important part when we come to the cloud, right? So cloud is completely a flexible kind of a model, right? So you have a lot of workloads over there, and whatever pick and choice you will be having, you have sufficient CPU range, you have sufficient memory range. Nowadays, they also are offering you the GPUs and all, right, for your all ML and LLM and all those stuffs, right? So you came into the variety of hardware aspects over there, right? They have multiple storage databases and everything. They have SaaS, PaaS, and all those stuffs, right? So it's our thought when we are having a need and what are the business requirement and what are the application we want to build us, right? What exactly I need to be choose if we are going with the containerization and orchestration kind of a mode, right? Which will be going to help you to build your Docker and Kubernetes stories and microservices, right? So that is going to be help you to build your application robust and also the resilience, right? Because you will be using multiple Kubernetes clusters. You will be having a containerization with the multiple cluster nodes, right? So that gives an advantage to have this high availability, and also the you don't have to be separately design your DR. You can able to just replicate that environment to the another region, right? So that sort of advantage you will be getting by using this containerization and orchestration technology. uh, Coming to the next to these data management and storage, right? So once you start building the platform, right, you will start having this application ready, and then applications will be start generating the data, right? And this data start get accumulating onto the your space, right? So we need to have to be very properly manage the complete data. So we need to have a scalable data storage solution to be in place for coming this all data, both like structured data and unstructured data. We should have a kind of a databases for the structured data like SQL, Oracle, and so forth. And for unstructured data, big data, data lake, there are many other things, right? So that technology you can adopt while building this scalable platform. Networking. This is a very important. I can say for our complete platform journey, this typical networking is a circulatory system for our entire platform, right? If you don't have a good network strategy and good network connectivity and bandwidth and proper rules, then it's a very difficult for your data to be circulate across your multiple environment, plus your build, whatever you are doing to the software development, right? So that going to be gone on a toss. So always make sure that your network architecture should be ready, which will be having a high availability and effective load balancing arrangement in that. And it should be designed in such a way that you will not have a single point of failure if there is any specific uh, path of a network is not working and I got stuck up over there and the data got stuck there, and I cannot have a moving any of this my application because of that. So that sort of things we need to be avoid while designing and the complete networking architecture. You can use during this networking principles, you can networking core component, you can use SD-LAN, virtual LANs, and there are multiple routers and the switches are coming now, which are the smart switches and smart routers. Those going to be help out to do the lot of filtering, load balancing features, and also few of them are giving a firewall kind of services as well. Uh, Having said that, security and compliance is another principle which we saw in a previous slide. And here, security and compliance is also fall under the core component, because without that we cannot have our application ready, because we need to have to secure data, which is a user data, personal data, and many other data, whatever the applications is required as per that particular sector, right? And to control that, we should have a defined security controls regulation as per the guidelines. Uh, Sometime cloud provides few of the security control, but in some of the manner we need to have to bring in external security control like firewall. Then there are lot of IAM related solution, identity and access management is required. Then security incidents, SIAM also it's very important. So that event management also we need to do. Then there is a new solution also in place nowadays, which is called as a cyber vault solution. So every financial organization should have a cyber vault because of the ransomware attack, right? So these are the technologies, because there are a lot of multiple player into this one, right? Right from Palo Alto, Cisco, and for the ransomware, there is a Rubrik, Dell, HP. So these are all the player into the market. They have their own products for to make your complete platform secure and compliance. And then after that, sustainability. Sustainability is the very keyword in the nowadays. You all are experiencing that. Most of us from India, we saw that 2 days back there was a cyclone hit to our Chennai coast and Puducherry coast, and we saw that this climate change is because of the carbon emission and all those stuffs, right? So everybody is aware of that. Now there is a big force from over the world is happening to all the enterprises, how they can create all the sustainable solution. Whatever you are building, new product, new application, new platform, we should have to be considered as a sustainable as a one of the component, so that we can able to reduce the carbon emission and the related stuffs. Okay. Having said that, there are certain tools on sustainability that FinOps, many of you know that going to be help us to calculate the complete carbon footprint. How can we optimize our workloads? What are the things which are the idle workloads running around the complete your environment? How you can optimize the CPU usage? What are the peak hours? How you can have a memory leakage can be avoided, and whatnot. FinOps is giving a lot of insight to your environment, and you can implement those required changes, which will going to be help out to reduce the carbon footprint. So this is one more aspect that most of the platform nowadays start implementing in their all new builds. And lastly, continuous evaluation and innovations, right? So this is very important aspect, because the platform, if you once you build the platform, right, it will not be stay as is, because there is a lot of changes happening to the environment, right? The demands are changing, the expectation from the user is keep changing, right? Then to always revisit whatever the build we have done, whatever the scalable IT platform we have built. So we need to have to keep revisiting on the feedback from the stakeholder and users, so that we can continuously evaluate our platform and start evolving those all services with the best services available into the market and best technologies with that, right? Uh, by this particular technology core component, you can at least able to build a good sustainable platform, and which will be a scalable as well. I'm just moving to the next slide. So when you're thinking about that, you build a platform and everything, right? So majorly the stakeholder in that particular scalable platform is the Kubernetes, okay, microservices. In one shot, we can say that, right? So microservices play a very vital role, and in that Kubernetes and containers and Docker, right? Nowadays, right? So these platforms run basically on these K layers, which going to help you to build your application. If you've done a proper architecture and clustering of your microservices and Kubernetes in a container and Docker, you will be get benefited out of that, because they have the features like auto scaling and load balancing within itself, so that you need to have to fine tune, and then you need to configure those according to the your need. They also have the self heal capability, which is going to help you to how you can uh, able to itself, once there is a kind of a occurrence of any services or degradation of services, it will start healing that itself by automation and scripts, right? Fault isolations, this is one of the features, right? KB Kubernetes allow namespace isolation within a cluster, also enabling the multi-tenancy, reducing the impact to the environment and affinity and non-affinities as well, right? So it's a kind of a broad kind of a structure, and it should, whenever it required, it's work together, and whenever it is required, it keeps apart those pods, okay? Again, multi-zone and multi-clusters deployment, which I already talked, and then support and multi-cloud hybrid. These also we covered into the our cloud topic, right? Coming to the community and ecosystem space, right? So this is something that once you start building your platform, right? Then there is a vast ecosystem of tools, like a lot of tools are there, right? Helm, there is a lot of consensus, then there are a lot of DevOps tools, complete DevOps stacks is there, right? And there is a kind of a resilience and large kind of a environment which we need to be regulate during this complete whole ecosystem, right? To support that, the entire community, right? Which about the Kubernetes we are talking, right? So this we need to have a specific flow, right? And we have the specific call out chart flow on that, and that going to help us to keep this ecosystem support within that community, right? We need to build in a such a way that, so that whenever we want to be contribute, you can anytime you can use this by pulling out this community of Kubernetes, and you can use that into your scalable platform. And all these features have that Kubernetes make because of the automation, DevSecOps tools, integration, CI/CDs, integrations, observability and monitoring, security and compliance, and infrastructure as a code. So these are the beautiful features. By using that, your Kubernetes clusters, Docker container keep running on. You can scale up, scale down. You can have a load balancing itself here. You can configure it as per your need, and you will be having a complete scalable Kubernetes architecture while you will be designing this platform. Now there are once we go to the principles and the core component. So I want to completely have this platform to be built in a standard best practices, right? So there are a few, uh, almost 11 kind of nine kind of best practices which we are going to talk here. So there are, starting from the right side diamond, current and future need, right? So what exactly the current and future need of the customers, right, or the businesses, which we talked about, and stakeholders, right? And what enterprise is required. According to that, we need to start, building this particular scalable platform. We need to gather those information, and we should be in, provide them a blueprint, right? So that they can understand that this is how the complete their scalable platform is going to be look like, right? Then there is a second break practice is component is redundancy and availability. Most of you put stress on that, right? So this is very important nowadays, because you should have to make sure that your complete workload should be on availability, which all are uncritical, and then think about that infrastructures, and then you have a seamless operation. You want to do that, right? In that case, you should be having a completely redundant and availability of your infrastructure, so that it should be always able to be a fault tolerant architecture, and then it should distribute the workload whenever the one workload is going to be fall, right? So like you should have a failover capability, then you should have a cluster, you should have a DR to be set up, and that DR should be get tested periodically. Okay. Virtualization and cloud computing is another best practice while designing your or building your platform. So imagine just you have a world where you can, mold your IT infrastructure like a clay, effortlessly shape all your shaping all your needs, and your uh, changing those needs, right? So this is the power of the complete virtualization and cloud computing. Actually, virtualizations allow you to create your virtual machines and container optimization, your hardware, and also it going to help you to use certain services like infrastructure as a service, that is IaaS, platform as a services, and then you can lock and unlock anytime, whenever as per your demand, and you can have regarding to your scalability, right? So this particular infrastructure can evolve alongside your business. Okay, as your business required scale up, you can scale up by using these services, right? Coming to the next is automation and orchestration. Specifically, automation and orchestration is the key principle, because most of the part you can see that nowadays there is a lot of infrastructure as a code can use by using Terraform, and there are a lot of other tools also available, HashiCorp and all, right? By using those into your DevOps things, you can immediately build your environment, and according to that you can create all your environment within a second or within a few minutes, right? If you want to even remove these structure, you have a Terraform script that it immediately remove those complete environment as well, right? So orchestration is the key role here. If you have the good orchestrator in your environment, it will going to efficiently work. It will reduce the manual effort. It will simplify your scalability, and your approach for ensuring consistency is going to be higher. Okay, and this is going to help you to configure and manage your complete environment. DevOps is another one where you can always find that by using CI/CD pipeline tools and DevOps related structure way of doing a software development, right? So you can have your own DevOps or GitHubs to be created within the environment, and you can use and reuse those whenever the challenges or whenever the requirement is coming according to that. Okay, and there are multiple DevOps tools which you can utilize in your platform, and according to the definitely according to the regulation and compliance, because this is very important. The license and then the required permissions is very important for using these all tools. Network infrastructure, we already talked about it. I will not going to stress more on that. Modular approach very very important, because if you see that the path to this scalability lies into the embracing a modular approach. Think of your infrastructure as a colorful mosaic, and each module representing a unique piece. So by designing your architecture with microservices, containers, and API-driven architecture, right, you can unlock the power of scalability, also enhancing your specific component without disturbing your entire system. So flexibility becomes your superpower here, and as you assemble and expand your infrastructure, right, the paving way to the innovation, it also help you to the grow as well, right? So you don't have to be think more about that, how I can design each aspect of my application, right? If you have that particular modularized approach, then ultimately you can able to collect together, and you can build your all requirement of your application. That's the beauty. And then uh, monitoring and optimization. So it's an again a same topic which we already discussed in the previous slide. So in monitoring and optimization is a very important part. Here it will keep monitoring your vitals like CPU, memory, network traffic, plus any threat which is through the security event management tool. Then your patching vulnerabilities and optimizing infrastructure at a peak efficiency, then usability, then fine tuning your resource utilization, and ensuring whenever is required the smooth scalability. So these all will be performed under your monitoring and optimization part. Data storage and backup, it's very very important, because data is an oil, right? And you cannot be ignore while doing this kind of best practices. So plan for your data storage and backup, plan for scalable data storage and backup strategies to accommodate exponential growth and ensure the business continuity. Okay, because you know that your data keep going on increasing, and there are a lot of cloud solution available on the data's part as well. They have Amazon have a S3 bucket, Azure also having a blob storage, and there are multiple other services they are providing nowadays, right? So those things you can utilize it, and you can use those for considering your distributed storage system, like distributed file system, object storage, then designed to the scale horizontally and vertically. All these data need to be increased, right? So implement comprehensive data backup and a disaster recovery solution, which will going to shield your critical asset and guarantee the swift of recovery for your times in during the crisis. Okay, so in a such a way that your data and backup and DR strategy should be defined, right? And last but not the least is the security and compliance, which is again very important as you embark on your uh, security journey, right? So security and compliance must stand tall, unwavering, and sentinel, protecting your digital realm. Okay. So implementing robust security measures like firewall, intrusion detections, encryption protocols, then you need to have to picture these defenses as an penetrable fortress, and safeguard your complete infrastructure from external threats. Ensure always that compliance with the industry regulations and data protection standards specific to your organization. Uh, and that's these all best practices. If you start while building your platform, definitely your platform will be a stand tall, because it will be having all the scalability feature, not only horizontally or vertical, but from the security and compliance and plus sustainability as well. Okay, having said that, I'm just handing over to the Nitin back for the closing commentary, so that he can take over from me. Nitin, back to you.
Hey, thanks. I mean, I think that was a very fast and quick overview of the various elements, components, and best practices for uh, building a digital platform. Correct. So ultimately, see, we are actually all going into a place where it's a digital ecosystem, correct? Where one platform talks to other platform, and together we make a complete digital ecosystem, correct? Just imagine that if I'm in my working in my company and my platform doesn't have the capability and scalability and features which cannot integrate with such open platforms which are available in the market, correct? It will be not be a very, very proper marriage of both the digital ecosystems, correct? So be it internal or be it external, correct, we have to build, we have to maintain the levels of resiliency, scalability, okay, to suit not only your requirement also but to match up with the regulations and ecosystem requirement, okay, in a larger digital ecospace, correct? So some of the requirements may be very internal to us, but some of the requirements could be, externally important. But ultimately, it will satisfy the users. Okay, uh, at all the stakeholders. There's a tremendous opportunities for growth perspective in terms of so basically it is always said that okay, let the technology manage the technology, whereas business focus on the business. Okay, so it is better for business to actually plan in a much better way, okay, by creating new policies and new business strategies, correct? Based on the data and insights that they get from market and internally also. And of course, it also gives some kind of diversification opportunities for companies. Okay, diversification opportunities in the sense you can actually do cross sell, upsell using your platforms. Okay, or using your platform services. Correct, to fill any other requirement. Okay, within the given space. So with that, I think we have come to close of the session. It's 15:59, and I hope we will have at least 5 minutes for the Q&A before we close the session. So these are our coordinates for Samir and myself. Feel free to reach out, okay, with any specific things, and we guarantee we'll reply back to you as early as possible. So with that, I think the questions have started coming in. Probably, we can look at those. I am sure, Samir, you want to, uh, okay. Uh,
Stopping my
Yeah, so I
sharing.
think that
Yeah.
it was good that no, there was no question during the last 30 minutes. Okay, I think people were very busy with looking at the slide and adding your storyline. Okay, it was quite informative. Uh, so you want to take the questions? I mean,
Yeah.
we are
No
not
worries.
using any database, correct? Using only the storage. No, so I'll take this one. So Jagdish.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Sure. You can.
So yeah, we will be using so depending upon the uh, platform nature, right? Whether it's a stateful or stateless, or what kind of platform it is serving the requirement is. There'll be databases which will be involved. Okay, there'll be distributed databases. There could be databases which are very special purpose database also. Okay, and I think API will also be there, quietly involved in microservices. So there will be some databases which will be involved here, but what it will be and what for purpose, I think that's a very subjective thing, and we can take it offline and we can talk separately. I hope it answers your question, Jagdish. You want to take the second one, Samir?
Yeah, sure, Nitin and Samir,
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank
No
you.
problem. Okay. What's the second one? Okay. Let me see.
Okay.
Okay. Deck we will upload. Not an issue. We'll give that.
Yeah, we'll give
What are
QR code also
yeah.
for the link of the data.
Okay. Uh, there is another from Sridhar. What are the strategies need to be followed in sizing the intranets? Sorry, it's coming. Okay, intranets based on the demand and peak load. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So, see, Sridhar, right? It's all depend, like what sort of applications and what sort of requirement is coming from the business, right? If that thinking they want to build a kind of a Amazon or a retail kind of a platform, right? Then your infra need and infra sizing is going to be a change according to that, right? And when you're thinking that during the peak hours, right, during the festive hours or month ends and all those things, right? If you want to be have that kind of sizing to be done, yes, definitely, you can ask very specific that lot of things, there are certain parameters that I will just call out here. Like, that you can ask the number of user is going to be login, how many concurrent user is going to be access this complete platform during that particular time frame, right? So you can create according to the your sizing for your infra, specifically for the network's perspective. What should be the bandwidth you required, right? When there is a multiple session is going to be in access, right? And then backend also, you need to know that what are the APIs are connected for your payment gateways, right? So what are their requirement, and according to that you need to have to size complete your infra. So both the ways, not only on the your hardware perspective, but on the network and connectivity perspective and API integration perspective also you need to think. I hope I answered your question. Another one
Yeah, I'll
is
take the next
what?
one. Under what
Yeah.
circum situations should we go for vertical scaling and horizontal scaling of an application server, or combination of both? Combination of horizontal and vertical. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very subjective. It's very subjective. I think uh, it will all depend on what kind of microservices, or how many modules you're actually dividing your application or stack into multiple modules. Okay, the basically the services, right? Because it all depends on which service will be, how frequently it will be used. I typically, in a very general say, I always say that, okay, typical that production planning, right? ABC. So A type of product used multiple times, so you can actually distribute into multiple packets. B type, you can actually, into different level of, requirements, or maybe other compute capacity. And C type, which is very used very rarely, so you can actually decide the strategy according to that. So ABC analysis, which we call it the typical production environment. But as far as the servers are concerned, or for application servers, correct, uh, if you have a mm, server limitation, right? For example, if you want to uh, take a high-end server, and if you kept on increasing to, four vCPU, eight CPU, 16 vCPU, you will get up to 1632. But as you go higher on the counts, right, the system cost becomes more and more expensive. Okay, if your application actually supports, okay, multi-threaded kind of scenario, right, where you can actually distribute into multiple packages, or maybe, in a services-based architecture, then you can actually have multiple boxes that will also give you some kind of HA, and your work load balancer will also be very happy to actually distribute the workload across the machines, right? So that way it will be easier. And the cheaper machines will also commodity type of servers. I call it commodity servers, okay, of the COTS product, okay. You can use, in a lesser cost, you can get better this thing redundancy, and you can get better performance. And if your application supports like to those kind of stuff, right, how there's always a better. Uh, and maintenance also is very easier, correct? If you want to say replace one machine, or if you want to replace 10 machines, right? You can always pull up one, and then, no, still your nine systems can run, rather than one machine being down. Okay, so from a serviceability perspective, also it is better to, distribute in multiple servers. Yeah, you want to take the subject next one?
Yeah, next one I will take. I think very interesting question. Naveen asked about, as you touch upon Kubernetes during the session, I want to know, as a network architect, how it will be helpful during the planning, designing, or scaling the current network architecture. Okay. Um, Again, giving stress on that. So as per the requirement, right? So if you have the stakeholder requirement in a different manner, right? Just I gave the previous example regarding the retail environment, right? So if you have the demand, and you need to have to be a meet your demand which is coming in between that, right? So you should be configure your network within a Kubernetes in a such a way that, because you might be having your Kubernetes clusters to be in a different zone also, right? Or in different region also, right? So your gateway and your DNS should be properly configured within those zones, within those region also. Again, having said that, each Kubernetes configuration, you should have to be properly define your load balancer. You should define the number of users allocated for each load balancer, and keep redundant those load balancer. Don't there should not be a single load balancer for only one Kubernetes. So each Kubernetes you should have at least two load balancer. If the request is more, then according to it should be get scale up. Nowadays there are features in the Kubernetes that you can scale up your load balancer as well as your cluster is start keep growing. If you have done the automation in the Kubernetes configuration and building that complete environment, right? So according to that, those IP addresses, right? So you should also have to be keep slotted the specific IP addresses within those regions, within those zones, whatever the VNet you are going to create, right? So look at that VPN and VNets, and then according to that, you can define all your IP address range as well. Okay, very specific. I'm going again with the bandwidth. So in cloud, you have a features while building your network, and you will be defining all those parameters, right? So you wisely select what are the bandwidth you require according to the request is coming, number of users count, number of sessions, number of transaction is going to happen application wise and then user wise, right? So those all you keep in mind, and according to that you can give those bandwidth number for each your Kubernetes cluster. I hope I answered.
Thanks, Samir.
Yeah, so one of the thing which I very recently came across, go quorum based, not the brain split, okay, in
Yeah,
Kubernetes. So
correct.
it's a very, very highly, quorum based architecture too. Yeah. Yeah, I think I see some hands being raised. Sandeep Singh, you want to ask question? I want to chat, put it into chat. I don't know.
Yeah, hi Nitin, good afternoon. Hi, Smith. So I have also
Hi.
shared in the last chat after I seen that you are
Uh,
responding on chat. So I want to know, like, we are already over time, but if you can share in few words, like, if you see any failure kind of solution, like that was going to be fail or failed solution, and we saved as a consultant in the from the Capgemini side, and how we help to customer.
so Samir, I'll take that.
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure.
So see, there is nothing called perfect in this world. Okay. So to be very frank, okay.
Yeah, because
So
that we are in
what
the learning phase, so
yeah,
we
no
can
worry.
learn
No, no,
from this.
absolutely, absolutely. I know. So, and to be very frank, I will not be in a position also to give you that, okay, what is right and what is wrong, correct? So it at that particular moment, right? As you saw that this presentation itself was very, very, pointed into principles, core blocks, technologies, right? Best practices, correct? There is no formal as such that okay, this is the way. If you develop a platform, it will give you very good results, correct? It has to be customized to your requirement. And when you say failed, correct? So probably one of the aspect, okay, is not being answered. So that's where we call as a testing and the chaos engineering, right? Which we generally we have. See, all brains work together towards, quorum works together to achieve something, okay? And if there is any one of the component which is missing or which is not being tested, okay, or if, then there is a high possibility that okay, you may end up doing no uh, probably failing. Okay, so that failure is nothing but I take it as a learning. To be very frank, Sujit.
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you may not have given a thought to it. Probably it is time to give a thought to it and then build on top of that. Okay, so that's when I was initially asking the number of people who are into development, into support. It's very essential because support guys will always complain that okay, I did not, it was not designed properly, and probably yeah, it's a learning basically, so designer should always evaluate. So one of the block which Samir was mentioning, right? Evaluate, constantly evaluate and improve. Correct. That's where, no. So if you find any loophole, enhance it. If you get more data points, enhance it. If you to so that's a continuous process. So uh, failures are, I haven't called it a failure. It's a learning path actually.
I mean, was asking about like when we are find some solution to develop that was a very initial. There was not solution at that company or customer, and we are just started to work on it. Might be overcome it or
See,
some.
See, I think one has to
solution
keep.
kind of things
Yeah, yeah.
that we were
So what
trying to
happens,
do at that time. It was,
I understood.
yeah.
So what happens, Sujit, you have to keep expanding your vision. Okay.
Mhm.
And thankfully, no, this architecture community gives that kind of opportunity to people for to interact. Correct. So uh, do some no design thinking. Broaden your vision when you actually get onto something like new. Correct. Discuss with people so that will open up some more points to in your mind too. Right. And that's the way to go forward on continuous learning program. Okay, so next question, Manoj. What while
Thank you,
designing
Nitin. Thanks,
architecture of
Sumit.
yeah, thanks. While designing architecture of any platform application, when we should go for a containerization architecture and when to go for a non-containerized architecture design, which one is better? Yeah, Samir.
Yeah, so good question actually. See, containerization architecture, right? If you talk about what application you should go for containerization and non-containerization, so there are a little bit aspects of the application according to that what you are building the application is depend on that. Okay, I'll tell you that if you don't have containerized application in today's world, what could be the problem for us? Okay, as a technical guy on technical team members, right? We all, right? If you thought that I don't want to have a containerized application, I will be building my application as a standalone and it will run whenever the requirement is there. I will see and I will update accordingly, right? If you think about that, you will be not up to the market first thing. I'm telling you because what happened, the requirement is coming from the business or stakeholders as per the changes happening in the surrounding, which talks about more on a market perspective and as per the growing business perspective. Okay, in old days, the applications running in a standalone server, there might be a clusters we build, and on that cluster there is a real application clusters going over there, which will be having a standard databases, Oracle and SQL and all those, right? But having said that, the demand and requirement and the functionality, the features, scalability, and maintaining those all stuffs in a short span of time is become a challenge. Okay, and the requirement, as you know, that the competitors coming with the new ideas and new business, right? And they build a new features in their portals or in their application, which attract the customers, right? So it's a completely end game of attracting the market and attracting the end users. How better you can attract, according to that, you need to build your application. And while saying that, the competitors also following the same path because Amazon is creating such a portal, then Flipkart is also trying to do that. Flipkart is doing then Mintra, then there are multiple. You see that in last 10 years, how many retail platform has been startup, right? Also, there is app-based stories also in the mobile, right? So Big Basket, Zomato, Swiggy, and whatnot now, Dunzo and Blinkit and everything, right? So the needs change, the application change, and they just been landed in a few months or few days, right, into the market. So the faster to the market and growth perspective, uh, if you have a requirement for such an application and the user is having that kind of experience, then you have to select the containerization kind of an architecture for your application. If there is nothing like a requirement, then you can definitely build your own application on server and you can still run into this, but don't expect that it will be a up to the market and it will be a uh, up to the user experience stage. I hope you understand.
So I'll tell you, I'll just add one point here. Okay. So immutable infrastructure, right? uh, we don't have time to fix nowadays. Okay, you and I was uh, so containers use it and then destroy it. Okay, on the fly. So on need basis. So one classic case I'll tell you, which I came across very recently. So whenever a stock exchange, right, at the end of the day, they create a note PDF document. Okay, what is a purchase and sale done by most people who have done it. Okay, uh, and I don't remember the name of the company, but then they was to take PDF to generate PDF, right? Some 18 hours. Okay, So if the market closes today 3 o'clock, it will take 18 hours actually to publish the PDF. But after implementing container, they are doing in 3 hours. So they are firing 4,000, 5,000 container for a period of 3 hours. The job is done. All 4,000 containers are again restored back to zero. All infrastructure released back to the systems. Okay, that's the kind of power, right? So you're not only saving the time, but then you are saving on the money. Just imagine that if I'm using container in the AWS or Azure scenario, and I'm using only for 3 hours, that too in a peak time, which is not in a time which is discounted, right? Midnight, 3 hours, and you're done. So significant saving, purpose solved, correct? And no headache of management. It's a one instruction. Okay, good. I think Samir, thank you so much. It was very wonderful listening to
Yeah.
you once
Thank
again
you.
today. And
Thank you,
thanks
Nitin.
CSI and Tech Capgemini team for giving us an opportunity. We are available offline any time when you have any questions. This is a very favorite subject for us, bread and butter. And
Yeah.
also we love listening to the ideas from people, and we'll be happy to connect in future too. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Nitin garu
Thanks
and Samir
everyone.
garu.
Thank
Bye
you
bye.
and
Thank you.